Hello, everyone. For this week's birth series, we are going over if you were a really early baby, maybe premature, put in the incubator, if you had a late birth or a long labor. I always can tell after all these years of working with people, whenever I'm around someone who was a preemie, I can just feel it in the air. I can feel when someone talks to me. They're kind of quiet. They almost like they're not weak, but they've got this like weakness about them, and they just don't want to step on the toes. They're not outspoken for the most part. Most premature people, they're just very quiet, and they they make their energy really small. Possible programming for premature or late births. They have this deep thought that they're not enough. I'm too small. I can't make it. I'm too weak. Or they feel helpless. They might have problems with time. Ask them why they came out early. Maybe a toxic womb, placenta not working, which could mean the womb is not a safe place. And I just did an interview with a woman a couple weeks ago who tried to come out of the womb at 5 months, and then they sewed her mom up. And so something was going on outside that made the baby not feel safe in there. And so she tried to get out, but they kept her in. I would consider that a hellback birth. Anyway, moving right along, the person may overcompensate for weakness and become tough, self reliant, wanting help from no one. May be fed by IV and may have been strapped down so they can't dislodge it. So they might have like this I can't move. They feel like intrusions. They feel ahead of everyone else. They feel immature in relationships. They are extremely vulnerable. Often they feel small or feel insignificant. They have a really deep pattern with time in general. So let's say you were put in the incubator birth. Look but don't touch. Touch is painful. People who are placed in the incubator, everyone that I've met, they all have this like glass wall of protection. Actually, when people drive down the freeway and they're driving those boxed SUVs, I'm like, Premi, Premi. Like they're literally driving in an incubator. It's hilarious. They have this like psychic wall of glass as protection. They have a fascination with machines. They might be computer experts, TV cubicles, small offices. Like me, I could never be in a small office. I just get so claustrophobic. And preemies, they might be used to that small incubator type, feeling. Incubator births can also feel separate and alone. They can feel afraid of touch. They might feel, this is a big one, they might feel observed and judged. And now we are moving into the long labor. If you had a long labor, you might have a really deep thought that life is a struggle. I can't get through. If the delivery was drawn out, it might take you a long time to do things. Like I was with this group of people in Ojai once, and this woman, she was just so beautiful, and the way she moved was just flowy and long. And I watched her order her food, and she took a really long time to order, and everyone was trying to speed her up. And then when she ate her food, she was there 20, 30 minutes longer than everyone else. She just really enjoyed every single moment in life, right? So, but and I asked her, I was like, girl, did you have a long labor? And she's like, oh, yes, I did. How'd you know? And I was like, because you just take your time, girl. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But when the mother is trying to give birth and the doctor has a schedule, there might be pressure on the baby, like you're taking too long, hurry up. And then, so if you had a long labor and you were shamed for it at your birth, you might attract people shaming you for not hurrying up and you taking your time. For long labors, they can feel slow, frustrated, and in pain. They can feel they are disappointments. They keep everyone waiting. They have the thought that they hurt people. Life is tough and a struggle. They are late bloomers. So, the beautiful thing about our births is they're perfect just as they are. You don't have to change a thing about you. But what do you attract? What are your patterns? Does it take a long time for you to attract something or get what you want or need? So, I made a breathwork download for incubator, premature, late, long births. And this session was designed to help you move through these really deep patterns. So going back to if you were born super early, if you were a preemie, you might have this pattern where you're always really early to something, or if you don't feel safe, you might cut out or escape before the end. So maybe you don't stay for the full, you're always really early, which there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes some of the best things happen right at the end of class. Sometimes for premature, if you were born really early, it's just important to notice your patterns with time and when you don't feel safe and got to get out of there. So there might be this like fight or flight type energy with time. And this breathwork download that I made was to help you gently move through your patterns. And the beautiful thing about our breath is it helps to rewire the brain. It helps to lift any burdens or triggers from our birth that are still in the mind and body. And it helps you to feel safe and grounded. Please let me know how it goes. I love hearing about people's birth and what happens to them during these breathwork downloads. You can go to the link in my bio or go to breathewithkimberlyrose.com up in shop and click on birth series. I have made a breathwork download for every single birth. So for today's, it's the incubator, premature, late, or long births. So please let me know how it goes. Mwah, all my love.